Dr. Lu, where are you right now? Tell me.
I'm at the Mount Shasta Nordic Center, and the elevation here is about 6,000 feet.
So obviously you're in Northern California. How far would you say you're from San Francisco?
About 4.5 hours north of San Francisco.
You're on the very top then, correct?
Yep, This
Yeah.
is actually the first chakra of the planet Earth. So a lot of spiritual people actually come here. Isn't
You
that
know what?
interesting?
I don't know anyone who lives or has as much, I should say, lives the way you live and has the energy that you have.
Really?
Oh my, you are on the go and you do what you want to do when you want to do it. It's amazing. Like even us doing this podcast and you being there, and I love it.
I love it. I think, Rick, with the 21st century, we have so many opportunities for people to contribute, have a wonderful career, and still have a balanced life. I think it's really important to have that.
I couldn't agree more. A lot of people, do live health and wellness to the highest level and,
Yes.
do that. But with you, it seems like it's at another level. I mean, if anyone follows you on social media, knows exactly what I'm talking about. You are out there, you do it, you teach, you not only nutrition, your exercise, and what you've done throughout your entire life is amazing.
Well, it didn't happen that way naturally, Rick, because my mom is actually a cardiologist. She's still living in Beijing. And I actually become a medical doctor after, graduation from high school. I actually was focusing on, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and why people are sick. I was working in the ICU. And my first practice in Mount Shasta was actually internal medicine practice. So for 8 years, I treat patients with medications and also with some good advice, but they don't do it. People don't like to exercise. They don't like to eat healthy. So I found it's really difficult to actually change them. And until I decided to change myself, that's really things start to happen. That's in 2006. When I personally went through divorce, my personal life was a mess. Together with my practice, my work at work, ICU and nursing home and the practice, I was maxed out. And I realized I needed a drastic reset, right? But I didn't know what to do back then. You live in Mount Shasta, you don't know very much until I have to say it's a divine intervention. My patient came in with some of the amazing product that changed my brain and changed my behavior. And it was easy. It was actually 30-day reset that completely changed my life. That was 15 years ago. So I have to share with people, sometimes people go through spiritual lessons, personal coaching, a lot of reading, self-help, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. But in this physical body, you still have to respect your hormones, your endocrine system, your detox system. So I think that's really the missing key is people do one thing, but they don't do everything, which I think is important.
Yeah, and let's go back to this real quick. You come from a family of doctors. Like you said, your mother was a cardiologist who was very well known. Your grandmother, if I'm not mistaken, was a doctor as well, right?
Yeah. My grandmother is Chinese medicine doctor. So they argue all the time. And whenever there's a disease, you see they're arguing. I think the biggest one was stomach ulcer. My mother would say, don't eat anything, right? When you are having an ulcer attack.
Right.
My grandmother will give people food. So my grandmother would say, it's ridiculous when somebody has a hole in the stomach, you stop giving them food and they're going to get worse.
Right.
So I remember that fight between them all the time. Yeah.
So let's go back to that. You grew up in Beijing up until what point? Because I noticed
up
you went to school in
until,
Wisconsin, right? College? But
right,
when
right.
was that, like, when did you move to the United States?
Yeah, my movement to, my move is in 1988. This is right before Tiananmen Square event. I don't know if you guys remember when the Chinese students are demonstrating for the freedom of speech,
Hmm,
for lots of issues we had in China back then.
right.
Is when I came here, right after I came here in 5 months, that event happened, I believe. So, so it was in 1988 I came to the United States.
Let's start with this. Let me just ask you
Okay.
something. So you are a holistic medical doctor that deals really with like integrative medicine. What is
Yes.
that? Like, you explain it, because I know you. I've been even
Right.
on some of your seminars, or I've seen you on, some of your Zoom groups.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of tell people what that is.
Okay, so integrated medicine is basically integrate the science of the West and the wisdom of the East. So the Eastern medicine focus on healing the entire person. Okay, so Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, a lot of the medicine has the principle is based on the whole person. Conventional medicine focus on individual organs and systems,
Hmm,
and they oftentimes address a disease and how to manage and the disease crisis, right? For example, if somebody is having a heart attack or broke their leg, have overwhelming pneumonia, in this time, the Western medicine is really good to address the crisis. What Western medicine failed is to address the root cause. When they fail to address the root cause, they end up having more pills. We actually have a saying called, one ill, one pill, one bill.
yeah, right.
And or you have either too many organs or not enough drugs, right? You either have the organ need to be removed or you need another drug. And
Gotcha.
unfortunately, that doesn't work very well in chronic disease
Mm,
epidemic. In acute illness, yes. Some Western medicine is really good. Even in certain cancer, sometimes you do need a chemotherapy to
okay.
buy you some time to do healing, right? So I'm not against Western medicine at all. I think the best, we can utilize best of both,
Sure.
which is called integrated medicine.
Gotcha. And you were a traditional doctor. I don't know what you
Yes.
specialized in. And then you
Uh-huh.
segued into environmental and lifestyle medicine, correct? Like, what
Yes.
what made
Yes.
you transition into that? Is it because you didn't like what they were doing, or the hospital, or was it because
That's a really good question, Vic. So what I went through is a personal burnout.
Mm,
What happened is I was ICU attendee, we attendant, and I was seeing a lot of patients, and they're very, very sick at the very end stage of their lives. Um, the families are all here. Many of them are very concerned. There's a very, very dysfunctional family dynamic in American families.
mm,
They don't speak to each other. And it's just a very sad situation. They bring up all their problems at the end of somebody's critical illness. So that was one thing I felt really sad. Felt like the physicians are disempowered. We actually do a lot of time just trying to get the family to agree. That's actually hours of time. I felt really burned out.
sure.
Another thing I felt burned out is this was, almost 16 years ago. So at that time, the medical record system was not as bad as today's, the paperwork, but it was already getting bad. So I will end up spending very long hours dictating notes. And I felt my time with my patient was really, really cutting short.
Yeah,
And
minimal.
that was the worst thing because I love to be with our patients. We love to talk to them, talk to their family, but we don't get paid for those hours, which is really important in healing. So personal burned out. I also went through a traumatic brain injury, personal relationship falling apart. So I had lots of stress, and that basically made me really sick. I have insomnia, heart issues, allergies, asthma, digestive issues, and body pain, chronic fatigue syndrome. So I was a mess myself. That really bring me up to a different road. I think that's really a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
A lot of people do go through that, right? I think it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah. So let's kind of give people an idea of what type of patients that will come to you, because they are very unique. And, you know, even me yesterday being on your call or your Zoom meeting was amazing, because these people were talking about things that I would never know how to address. I don't even know how you even help these type of people to a certain degree with the problems they have.
Right.
So first of all, what type of person comes to you?
Okay, so right now I'm actually helping a lot of practitioners dealing with difficult patients. So what is difficult patients?
Yeah.
Well, many of them are taking way too many drugs, and they're just feeling like they're going to die anyway. I mean, it's like at the end of their road. For example, Parkinson patient, ALS patient, MS patient, severe autoimmune that's already failed many biologics, or people they saw their relatives suffering from some horrendous treatment, and they just don't want to do that. For example, lupus, you know, lots of people with autoimmune, their relatives are taking immunosuppressant and develop leukemia or pretty severe infections. So they really don't like those immunosuppressants. So they come to me quite a bit. So I work with a lot of autoimmune. I also started working with people, they really like anti-aging medicine. They're doing everything to be happy and healthy, but they end up taking, 100 different hormones and shots, peptide injection, stem cell, and they end up not really having any sustainable result. As soon as they stop the injection, they start feeling bad again. So a lot of them say, Dr. Lu, I have money, but I just don't like to be, going to the injection clinic all the time, Yeah. So those people really need to see an environmental medicine doctor, because their body have the ability to create healthy stem cells and healthy hormones. So if their body is too toxic, those hormones are not going to work. And it doesn't matter what you are injecting yourself. If your body's inner environment is very toxic, you're not going to have sustainable result. So I tell a lot of physicians, yes, they do like the high tech, right?
Yeah.
Botox, those are great things, but it doesn't last very long. You have to help the person to be healthy and happy from inside out.
So let's put it this way too. So someone comes to you, they don't want to take pills any longer, right? They really want to get away from going to the hospital constantly, certain treatments. I know each one's different, but how are you going to help them do it? Is it mainly through nutrition to lean them off of that, obviously changing into more of a healthy lifestyle, but what else?
So Rick is quite unique. I don't tell them what to do right away. I write down what they have been taking and their history. I usually order an environmental toxin screen, because let's say you live in Florida, I live in Mount Shasta. We have different kind of toxins. Trust me, Florida have more pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides. Mount Shasta, we have more, the fire control stuff, right? Herbicides for forest defoliation and maintain roads. So we're very different type of chemicals. So I usually do a environmental toxin urine test, and that costs about $350. And you get a whole panel of the toxic chemicals people have. And then I also normally get another genetic test, because genes determine what kind of disease you are most likely to have. For example, if you and I both are exposed to herbicides, that's really bad. In you could be developing Parkinson's, right? For me, as a woman, I may develop breast cancer. You see? Sure. So is the genetic determine the gene, the phenotype, which is clinical symptoms from the same toxin. So I normally get two. I get the environmental, we call exposome. We got the genome. So you put these two together and look at this person, how old is he? You know, if this woman is perimenopause or menopause, you have to consider hormones. You can't just start treating them because if they're adrenal fatigue, they don't have any hormone to back them up, they may feel really bad, you see? So the hormone piece is really important. A 19 years old will detox much faster than the 59 years old woman, right. You see? So, so you do need to consider the age group. And three components, when you put them together, people should feel fantastic in 90 days, okay? And I tell people, if 90 days they did not feel good, they didn't follow the program, or they're still having toxins coming into their life every day. So, but normally 90 days should be a really good reset. In most people, I would say 85%, which is really high percentage of success when you compare to all alternative therapeutics, right? Homeopathy usually is 50%. Nutrition, people don't even feel anything from nutrition usually, maybe 6 months. But if you do the right detox program, getting the stress out of your body should heal 85% of the time.
Gotcha. If I'm somebody who needed help and I came to you, do you have where I could use insurance, or would it have I'd have to pay out of pocket, or is it out of network? How does
Very
that
good
work?
question. Yeah. So Rick, if you want to see me, we have a donation-based fee service. Basically, I do not behave like your doctor, and we charge people $100 for the first 30 minutes. It's just a donation based. Okay. If people say, you know, Dr. Lu, I just don't have money right now, and which I will also serve you. If you are getting better, all I ask is to forward to somebody you know who can help, who need help. So we have kind of like a play forward type of arrangement.
Right.
Isn't that great? I love it.
I love it too. Let's go to this now.
Okay.
Say I'm healthy, right?
Okay.
And I come to you because, let's face it, we have a mutual friend who's very healthy, right, who loves nutrition and health and wellness and is, you know, all that. And he loves you very much. And you seem to also have these type of people gravitating to you as well. Now, are they patients or are these colleagues, friends? I mean, I consider you a friend, but I haven't used you. How does that work with you?
Okay, so what we want to build is a circle of profit structure. So why that's important? Because when you think about a wellness community, we must provide the infrastructure to support each other, because everybody's busy, you know, they don't have to care for each other. So I need to honor their time. So let's say Jason and I is like, we're working on this community right now, massively growing. We all represent certain product together.
Right.
And not just one company, couple company together. So if Jason refer me a patient and that patient is, you know, interested in getting started on the detox, Jason gets a percentage, I get a percentage as well. Now, if the patient wants to be part of it, the patient will be getting a percentage of the orders. So we are forming a circle of profit, which I think is a little bit of a new idea. And I met a physician, his name is Gary Gordon, you probably heard of him. He has to be in his 80s now. He actually joined our company at that time. And he met my patient. One of my patients lost 65 pounds, lost all her drugs. Now is, ice skating at age 80. And he was so inspired. He said, Dr. Lu, what a great idea. When you get your patient healthier, you also teach them to teach more people to be healthier. Yeah. And that person actually is able to retire, with this type of work together. So I think it's a wonderful networking opportunity, but it's not, for everyone, because, sure, most people just want to keep it to themselves, which I also love. I mean, if they can be healthy, that will save their families so much, worry. And like my mother, she's 95, living in Beijing. She never went to the hospital, and she leave me so much blessing, right. Just be healthy. It's a big blessing for your families.
Sure. Here's the thing too with you, I noticed. It seems like regardless if you have COVID, you are obese, or if you have other health issues, I don't know what they are, or it's about staying healthy, you cover such a wide range. You're not kind of just saying, I'm a nutritionist. Oh, I'm a surgeon for transplants. I only deal with whatever. How do you have that freedom? How did you master all of these type of things, I guess you could say, or all these, or how did you learn all these things? And it's kind of beyond, I've dealt with a lot of doctors myself. My daughter had a liver transplant. My other daughter has type 1 diabetes. And they each have, certain doctors, and we have certain hospitals just like, but you seem to understand so much.
I see. Well, I think one of them is I have to contribute to my desire to learn. Sure. I think when I say I don't know, I don't just stop there. I will actually try to find out. For example, when I had abdominal surgery myself, from a huge fibroid that keeps growing due to hormone replacement, actually, right. I actually start to feel aging, right? The scar was preventing the energy flow. And I talked to my acupuncturist and learned about the meridians. So I think my biggest blessing is I'm able to say, I don't know. I need to find out how to be better. I think a lot of specialists, in medicine, they were like, I'm a heart doctor. I don't really know why your testosterone is low, right? Yeah. They don't really understand testosterone is contributing to heart health.
Right, and you refer somebody else, right? And then you refer someone else, right? They're always referring someone else, which is understandable. Right.
That's called compartmentalized medicine, which I think is quite limiting in their ability to heal the whole person. Another thing I think I learned is sometimes you have to let patients find their own way. You have to be able to let go that ability, like you want to heal everyone.
Right.
I'm sure you too, right? You probably want everyone to be happy, finding their mate, have fun in life. Yeah. But but we are in a very difficult time, Sure. A lot of my girlfriends are going through menopause. When you go through menopause, your emotion, your molecules, your attractiveness. We have a woman, she was saying, I actually start to smell like a man. Going through menopause, the order, your body order change. And that could be very challenging, because you don't want to smell like a man when you're with a man, so very, very challenging issue. A lot of men also start to smell different. I have quite a few women friends told me their husbands smell toxic. I don't know if that's
because it could be many things, right? Drinking, smoking, as we age, food.
Correct.
I mean, all the different things, right?
Yes. Yes. So I think sometimes have a very honest discussion, like you are always doing too, is so important. Honest, safe place, understanding where they are. You know, especially right now, people are so confused, angry, and fearful, and just have compassion first, and then just get down to three things: your genes, your toxins, your hormones. The three things are, once you get them solved and balanced, the patient should start feeling better, then they can think better and they smell better. So that's really cool, right?
Yeah, it is very cool. Let's jump into this because we do anti-aging stuff, but here's the deal with you. Let's call it for what it is. You have more energy, like I said earlier. This is like no joke. How do you have all this energy?
Okay, so it's really important to sleep. I would say 8-hour deep sleep. Okay, people say, "Oh, I'm in bed late hours," but if you're hearing the bathroom sink, you're hearing your neighbor music, or the car, you're not sleeping deeply. So if you're not sleeping deeply, that's a big deal. So, and I will help you sleep deeply. So in me, sleeping was a big challenge because I have a genetic issue metabolizing glutamate to GABA.
Sure.
So I take something liposomal balanced neurotransmitters to reset my sympathetic to parasympathetic at night. So I do 4 sprays, reset to parasympathetic. I also take melatonin, vitamin D, and magnesium at night. So those are really important elements for me. And of course, for people that have different situations, menopause ladies, they have to consider hormones. Hormones are incredibly important in reset your sleep. So sleep is number 1. Number 2 is detoxification.
Wait, Dr. Lu, what about naps? Yeah. I just want to throw that in. What do you think of naps?
I don't take nap. I do think some people can take a nap, for 30 minutes if they can. I think it's a very good habit. I've seen a lot of the Italians and this Hispanic and the Chinese used to take nap.
I love
and
nap.
They're much healthier.
I love a nap. Yes. Okay. All right.
I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah.
Okay. Let's jump to number 2.
Yes. So the number 2 is you need to detoxify chemicals and heavy metals on the daily basis. I don't really like those periodic cleanses, and because it used to be really good. The Chinese do fasting on Fridays and they do a cleansing.
Yes.
Every seasonal, they do a herbal cleanse. What I learned is the modern society, we have so much more toxins, and they store in the brain, in the bone, in the fat. So if you're only doing the periodic thing, people tend to move the toxin around. And not all of them come out. So when you stop cleansing, they start to move around to important organs. Do you see? So I don't like those periodic cleanse anymore. I said, you need to do something every day. You don't have to take 80 pills every day. You just do something for chemicals, something for heavy metal every single day. I try now to encourage people do those, IV chelation. I know a lot of physicians are doing that, which is great. Just make sure after you do the IV chelation, you do something every day as well. Okay, very, very important. So that's the second principle, is detoxifying every day.
How does the average Joe do that? Let's just.
I know average Joe probably don't know how to do that. So
correct. So give them an idea, because you probably were way over their head. You're over my head sometimes. So kind of give them an idea when you're saying to detox, how to go about this. Not just saying, okay, I understand I shouldn't be drinking water out of plastic.
Right. Got you. So a lot of the chemical toxins are we call organic persistent pollutants, and they're very difficult to come out of the body because they behave like your hormone receptors agonist, right? So, for example, BPA is like estrogen for man and woman, and lots of sunscreens are testosterone blockers. So to detoxify those, you need to take a supplement called calcium D-glucarate. Calcium D-glucarate is a molecule produced by the liver. It has ability to detoxify the body, especially chemical, sticky, large molecules.
Right.
Very important conjugator. So that's something you should take every day.
Okay.
Because our body produces every day 200 milligram a day. I think people should just take maybe 1,000 milligram every day to detoxify these chemicals. For heavy metal, I really like Dr. Nicholas' product called Clear Drop.
Okay.
And that's a systemic zeolite. And it's purity tested, so it's very safe. And you take a little bit every day, and that will suck out the heavy metal like arsenic, lead, cadmium, and mercury. Gotcha. So those are very important steps to do. Do you see?
Yeah.
I will do it every day. I don't think people should just do a short time.
Okay. All right, meet with these questions. I got questions coming at you again. So
Okay.
some more. I don't want to drive you crazy, but I find you so fascinating. So let's go this route too. The average person out there to a certain degree likes their food. They're not willing to necessarily change their entire diets, or they've tried diets, they have failed. They've tried fasting, they don't like that. They try different supplements and vitamins, they don't like that. Like a lot of people, I think they don't want to say that.
Yes.
What would you give as a recommendation as an honest approach? Not saying you got to eat all these vegetables or all these fruits, or eat them at all different times of the day. What really should people do just at the beginning to kind of segue into leading a healthier lifestyle? Because I think that's what it takes, is doing something smaller at the beginning and then them starting to feel the difference, see the difference, instead of saying, okay, we're going to go cold turkey. We're going to do a whole cleanse, or we're going to go on this diet, or we're going to use these supplements again, specific, and they don't like the taste of them. They're not consistent. Just give me an idea of what you can help people just starting off small.
You know, that's such a great question, Rick, because when I was seeing internal medicine patient, okay, this was 15 years ago, they are all, I take insurance, so they're all Medicare, Medi-Cal, regular busy people, and they are exactly what you're saying. Some of them said, Dr. Lu, I hate vegetables. And some people say, I just don't have exercise. I hate exercise.
Yeah.
Yes. So I went through that period, and I really feel the two supplements absolutely changed people's life. So the first one is the Ultropin spray. I told you that, right?
Yeah.
It has GABA, but they also have dopamine. And I have a couple patients, they're the farmers of, they eat meatloaf, potato, and they have high blood pressure, kidney failure. They just started
bacon, pork, all that, right?
Pork,
eggs,
potato, gravy, So I remember, first of all, they just got out Ultropin Immune, okay? And they started like, oh, Dr. Lu, I don't know if this is, I lost some weight, but I thought because I had the more motivation, I just went to the garage and got the treadmill that I haven't touched for years. And the next thing, they joined the cooking class and learning how to make vegetable soup. And I was like, you guys learn these
small
things? Small steps. I do think Ultropin, the reason we call Awakened Kid, it gives people opportunity to make a choice. Dopamine is a very interesting neurotransmitter that control motivation, craving, sex drive, and performance. dopamine deficiency in women is classic, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a picture. Women goes through perimenopause and menopause. Their prefrontal lobe dopamine levels start to drop. That's just the way our aging brain is. So they suddenly know, they know this is a wrong guy to go out with. But they will do it anyway because they feel, well, So the logical thinking is out of the window. Another symptom is they're going to a grocery store and they're checking out and they sell this junk food, like bunch of chocolate and candy. Sure. And they will, in their head, they will say, those are bad for me. I should not buy it. Right. But they will buy it anyway.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
That is the dopamine deficiency.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you go out to eat a lot. Another symptom is indecisive. Okay. It's kind of like they're looking at the menu and they cannot decide what to pick.
Yep.
The decision time is so much longer. And so that's why I feel dopamine is a very important neurotransmitter people should pay attention to.
Sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So those two products will be really good to introduce people to a different way of learning. And maybe gradually they will become more motivated.
Yeah. Let's jump on the fitness real quick because I want to kind of cover a lot of things with you quickly. You are very athletic, and I talk a lot about people quitting or not wanting to work out. A lot of times don't realize that there are things out there that you may love to do. You just may have never done them. So going to a gym, you may have not liked. I'm just saying. You going, maybe somebody, you may have gone to yoga. You don't like it. I've gone to Pilates. I don't like it. So I'm out on fitness. That's not true. Because I see someone like you and you live it. You incorporate a lot of fun with fitness, and you also never kind of stop. One is, I would say to a certain degree, you're curious. So you're trying different things. And you want to experiment in different places. If it's, like what you're doing now, or if you're hiking, or then maybe you're swimming, and then I see you doing maybe some other type of training. You're always experimenting, which I always talk about. Give kind of people an idea. Did you always do this, or did you you're an adventurer? Let's call it for what it is. You're a fitness adventurer, right? I would call you.
Yes. So Rick, I have some really good news for you. I have been studying people's genetic, in the past couple of years. I realized the majority of us, most people, have endurance capacity. Most people have very beneficial genetic trait. Okay, so I just want people to know that. Now, what is the trick to get them out? To get them outside.
Yes.
Or just get out to the gym, right?
Yes.
That is a motivation issue.
Yeah.
So I would say Otropin certainly help to get me out, because that dopamine level just make me really curious about being outside. The other thing is, ask people if there's something for the 30 minutes, their true benefit will come back in, right? Let's say if you just do 30 minutes walking in the neighborhood, you will have opportunity to download stress and maybe find something interesting in your surroundings. So like when I come here, I usually try to appreciate things that's different.
Yes.
Like a snow creature, maybe a little black squirrel, just become very connected to your environment. So one of the reasons people are unhappy, I think, because they're disconnected. Right? They're so, they're sitting there in a massively piled up computer screen, right?
Yeah.
They're not connected to something.
Yeah.
And I think that disconnection is very sad. It's
Yeah.
very sad. Like when I'm here by myself, I look at these trees. You know, the Chinese religion believe actually trees are alive. They actually carry souls.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see these trees, I feel they're looking down at me, and they are like, they're like marvelous about living a life and like a silly person, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's feeling that connection.
Yeah.
And why we're so disconnected. Maybe you have some idea why we're not looking at people in their eyes and have a couple moments, just say hello, how are you doing? You know, why we're so disconnected. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't give anybody any happiness.
Yeah.
Why there's so much fear, right? And loneliness. So I think because we're disconnected from our environment. Do you see?
Yeah. Sure.
So I tell people, no matter what you do, try not to just do it at home alone. You need to get out and start communicating with plants and animals. Going plant-based really gave me a sense of connection with animals.
Mm-hmm.
That's really something I've been a meat eater my whole life. So 5 years ago, Dr. Will Tuttle told me about, the reason for unhappiness and disconnect is the fact we have to ignore, how we get the meat, right? We don't want to talk about it. So I do think eating more plants, even my patient, they will say, I don't know what it is. I feel I'm connected to birds, the squirrel, my dogs, my animals. I think it's really good to have that connection.
Yeah, you're on a journey a lot of times from what I see with your post
Mm-hmm.
on social media. If
Mm-hmm.
you're on it independently or you're with your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think a lot of people underestimate, and I talk a lot about this, is they have incredible genetics. They just truly never found them or
Yeah.
discovered them. They can be so much healthier a lot of times. They just don't even understand it because maybe when they were younger, they were told they were fat, they were too
Mm-hmm.
skinny, they were
Mm-hmm.
uncoordinated. But they have to go, you got to go out and find also what you love. If you're not doing what you love, you're never going to stick with it. Some people may like to be social and go do things in classes or go do whatever they're doing. Then some people like to do it independent, right?
Yeah.
You got to figure out what's really best for you when it comes to health and wellness. And like you
Right.
said,
Right.
people that are even introverted, let's say, and they go outdoors or whatever, you could be social like in an environment because you have the trees, the plants, or you have animals and
Right.
the snow, you have nature in general. So you're not alone, right?
Right. Right.
And, I talk about too a lot of times, even on, if you go to a gym like myself all the time, but even if I'm not at the gym, I also still try to incorporate healthy things outside or other places. Swimming. I don't care if I'm
Right.
walking in a theme park. I don't care if I go hiking somewhere, running on the beach, go play volleyball. There's so much
Right.
you can do. But I think a lot of us
Yes.
just get caught in the thing and says, no, I only lift weights. No, I only play volleyball. No, I only surf, which is wonderful. But if you
Right.
start to do, the more you do, the more kind of fun it becomes. And
Right.
I just see you living that, which is pretty interesting. I mean, it's just awesome to see your posts. You just inspire, I think, a lot of people. Cause like I said, it's beyond just saying, yeah, I live this way. I eat this way. I teach this, but look at you,
Mm-hmm.
you're in the snow doing a podcast. You know what? My first 20 podcasts I was doing outside by my palm trees in my backyard by the pool and stuff. But I started to get
Oh.
bad reception and then it rained and then the landscaper. But I said, I'm a guy who's in a gym or on the go or always was traveling. I'm like, I'm not an office guy. I don't,
Right.
I had to do them in a hotel or do them in a house. I'm like, this is the last place I'm usually at.
Uh-huh.
Oh, anyways, well, we'll wrap this thing up. I probably exhausted you.
No, I'm ready to skate because I'm getting cold.
I believe it. Do you want to tell people where they can find you? We're going to also have it in the about section, but you want
Yeah.
to tell them?
So for those people who want to just give me a call and find out, please email me. That's much easier. It's Dr.Lu at drlumd.com.
So it's
Very
Dr.
simple.
Lu. Hold on. It's Dr. Lu, L-U, right? Is it DR or do you spell out doctor?
Just DR. DRLU at drlumd.com.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to have that information on there as well. And you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook. I don't know. Do we follow each other on Instagram? I don't even know.
I think we should. I'm
Yeah.
not very, I only post and then I don't know what else to do. So, but I do follow your, I think I follow you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're connected on LinkedIn and I see you on Facebook. That's where I see all your journeys and where you're at all the time. I know. I wake up all the time. I'm like, where is she at now? It's, I'm like, what? It's 5 a.m, 7 at night, or midnight, 2 a.m. I'm like, what the? I never know what you're gonna pop up with. You're hilarious. You need a TikTok. That's what you need.
Oh.
All right. We're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rick, for everything you're doing.
Oh, it's and thank you again for inviting me to yesterday or last night's. And I'd like to do that again because I was learning so much because it was I was only on there for an hour just because I was doing podcasts all day. I hit the wall. I was like, I am finito. I was on the computer for 14 hours. I just said, I hope she understands that. That's it. Hey. But yeah, I want to hear more
I will
of those.
see you next week. We're going to talk about heavy metal. Yeah,
if I'm available, I promise you. Because a lot of people want to do these podcasts at night on the West Coast, like yourself, and then it gets long. But
got you.
All right. Take care. Go ski.
I will.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Rick. Bye.
Bye.